It's a hard pill for us to swallow that a precious heirloom and a coveted piece of our history was craned off simply and put on a flatbed truck right under our noses.
Yeah, that's so annoying about all the Columbus stuff with these Italiano guys. Has no one offered to just do, like, switch it with Garibaldi? I mean, for one thing, Columbus is not Italian. He was Genoese. Italy was not, in any sense, a unified country or concept. He was a Genoan. Garibaldi literally made Italy into a thing. Garibaldi is the reason you can even call yourself Italian and not Calabrese or something. Or Napolitano. You dumb fucking... I'm trying not to use any anti-Italian slurs here, but it's just very frustrating. I saw a billboard. It's apparently in Connecticut, and it was paid for by some local Italians, and it says, "The first Italian-American, Christopher Columbus, welcomes you to Connecticut." And I thought that was pretty funny. Because for one thing, he's dead. I don't think he's welcoming me anywhere. Secondly, we can argue about whether he's Italian, because you could say, oh, yes, there might not have been an Italian state, but there was an Italian language, even though Italian is notoriously dialect heavy and relatively unintelligible across relatively small distances traditionally. But even if you want to call him Italian, he 100% was not American. By the way, these people talk about America. Because when people say, like, I'm Italian-American, they don't mean in that, like, you know, globalist, like, well, the United States is not the only country in the Americas. Anyone in North and South America is technically an American. I'm going to call them a USian because they're not American. Now, of course, these guys don't go for that bullshit. American is USA #1. And Columbus never set foot in the United States. He went to Hispaniola, and at one point I think he went to the South American continent. And I'll fucking guarantee you, the guys who put up that sign do not think that anybody from Hispaniola or South America is an American. I guarantee goddamn to you, they do not.
Speaking of that, I was reading about the voyages of Christopher Columbus the other day because I needed something to put me to sleep while from Wikipedia. And that is all those things. It's like, why did he do that? Not because he was a genius, but because they needed the spices to sell them. Yeah. We need a better route to the spices.
Because the Ottomans shut it off. The Ottomans shut off the land route to the spices.
And the funny thing, the two funny things that I pulled out of reading the entire Wikipedia page of the voyages of Christopher Columbus were, one, that he did. It wasn't that people thought the world was flat. That was obviously a myth, but that he massively miscalculated the circumference of the Earth. If America was not there, he would have absolutely died.
He would have been. They would have just ate each other on the boat and then just like ran aground
the giant Pacific.
And yeah, like there would be some undiscovered island in the middle of the ocean where like a bunch of bleached bones and shipwrecked chunks of the Nina are just like floating, just sitting on a beach somewhere.
The other thing that I thought was very funny is that like first round of explorers who got to America, Columbus, were like extremely disappointed because they were like, there are no spices here.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, there's gold? Okay, we'll get the gold.
Yeah.
But they wanted spices.
It took a few years to figure out that there was gold.
And a lot of native torture to find out there was gold. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally like ran like a protection racket on the local natives to try to squeeze gold out of them. Yeah. And they were like, there's not gold here, dude. I don't know what you're talking.
That was one of the big like red pill, like left-wing red pill moments for me as a kid, is when I found out, no, they didn't reject Columbus because he thought the world was round and they thought it was flat. It's because they accurately thought they had an accurate understanding of how big it was, and he had an insane crank idea that it was way smaller than everyone else thought it was. Like, it was the Catholic Church. They weren't saying it's flat. They were saying, dude, it's way too big. But no one knew there was a continent in between us and the fucking India. Yeah. So he was right. Classic American. He kind of is the first American, actually. Yeah, because he was an idiot who oafishly was miscalculated
and ran into huge riches.
Absolutely accidentally hit into something that he had no idea was there, and then actually, I'm a genius.
It's so funny that Columbus has become like a lightning rod for for like Italians claiming, like, you could not pick a worse Italian
Seriously.
to claim as your dude.
As I've said, not Italian anyway.
There is no
That's
Italy.
not Italy.
Italy does not exist.
And somebody was trying to tell me, well, it was an ethno-linguistic connection. It's like, even to this day, Italian is more like regional and dialect different than like most European countries. Like there is almost a mutual incomprehensibility between Italian dialects to this day. You want to talk about fucking as it was in like the early modern and medieval periods, and like Genoa went to war with Venice for 100 fucking years. Like, what is how are they supposed to imagine that they're part of the same polity?
Yeah. Italy is imaginary. Don't let anybody try to convince you that
Italy's not a real country.
Yeah.
Germany isn't a real country either. Because the thing is, like, if you're not a country by like 1850, you're not a real country.
I only recognize the Holy Roman Empire.
Like anybody who's trying to make a country in Europe after that, in Europe specifically, I would say, because of how long there'd been polities in Europe, if you don't get like a thing together by the Industrial Revolution, you're forcing it.
And
you're being a tryhard. You're posting cringe.
And as we've seen in literally every example of it, if you don't get your shit together by 1850 and then try to do it anyway, it makes everybody in your country insane.
Yep. What a coincidence. The two places that founded fascism as a response to the crisis of World War II and the Depression were Italy and Germany, the countries that just got onto the scene, were just discovered or just became together.
I mean, in that way, America just got it in under the wire, but honestly, jury's still out on that.
Well, we were a thing before the Industrial Revolution is the thing.
But like 60 years.
Yes, but still, under the wire.
Under the wire.
No, Garibaldi is the obvious choice for the day. Garibaldi Day. Who would say no to the Garibaldi Day?
I mean, a lot of people.
The Pope, maybe. Pope wasn't a fan. I mean, I bet Francis would probably be okay with it, honestly, because he seems kind of chill about it. But
did Garibaldi ever come to America?
No, but he was invited to be a general in the Union Army by some enthusiastic Republicans in 1860.
That's cool. I think the thing about Columbus is that you have to be an Italian guy who came to America.
But he didn't come to America the way these people imagine America.
No.
Like, their idea of America is the continental United States.
Yes.
And he did never set foot on the continental United States.
No. He made it to the mainland of Central America, but not the continental United States.
And if you were born there now, would most of these goombas who talk about it, Columbus consider you an American?
No.
No. If you're from the Dominican Republic or Haiti, do they consider you an American?
Absolutely not.
No. Give me a break. Full out of here. Garibaldi, come on.
He
not only Italian, he made Italy. The March on Rome, for God's sakes. The red shirts. He made the country into a thing. Like, he's the first Italian of any kind.
He is the first Italian.
God. Garibaldi didn't come to the United States. Somebody reminds me of this. He did go to South America. He was actually a bank robber in Argentina.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, he was like a brigand and like a guerrilla guy. Garibaldi is one of those like world historical figures who are just, you read about him and you're like, how is this a real guy? Like John Brown.
Yeah.
You read about him, how is this a real guy? Just in terms of not only having a preternaturally like modern moral sense that transcends his moment, but also the will and ability to use that moral sense and turn it into something meaningful. Kind of unbelievable. As opposed to Columbus, who is basically just a fucking dumbass scam artist trying to like wheedle some money out of bankers and the Queen of Spain and shit. Yeah.
And he doing everything with his like 6 sons. Yeah. His 6 large adult sons.
His 6 large adult sons rolling across the place. Giuseppe Garibaldi, folks. People more and more, they're recognizing that he's great. He's wonderful. Because, like, give the day goes a day. Give him a day. Everybody, you're fine. Have a day.
We'll celebrate, as a partially Italian myself, I would nominate celebrating the mutual day of Garibaldi and Gaga.
Yeah.
The two visions of Italian excellence.
That is it. The masculine and the feminine, the historical and the present.
Two people who did
politics and art.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. If who would you want? You're also Irish.
Also Irish.
Well, they have St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick, by the way, not Irish. He was Welsh.
I am the synthesis of the two most hated white ethnicities of.
Well, because they're the try-hard white ethnicities. Yes. They're the ones who showed up late and tried to like assert it more.
Yeah.
As opposed to the WASPs and the Krauts who are a little bit more laid back about the whole thing, about the whiteness deal. But if they were going to get rid of St. Patrick, and they should, because as I've said, he was Welsh. He was not Irish. Who would you want as like the guy for the Irish Day or the lady?
Edge. Not Bono.
Not Bono.
The Edge. I like the way he plays guitar. I like his little like trinkly effects. It's good. Yeah. Or what's his name? Phil Lynott from
Phil Lynott
from Thin Lizzy. Yeah.
From Thin Lizzy. Yeah.
Him, Phil Lynott, and I don't know, one of the guys from the Irish Revolution just doing a bro grabs as a statue.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Garibaldi? Pimp. What other word do you want to describe him with? Like you could say that like John Brown was like the American Garibaldi, and Garibaldi just was operating in a little better tactical environment. They both had problematic age gaps in their relationships, though. And I would say to my Italian American brothers and sisters that if you really have to have a day, you really got to have a day for your people. Fine. Well, how about Garibaldi? He's right here. Hey, he's a Garibaldi. What's so wrong with him? Huh? He's a good. I mean, he's the guy who actually created an Italy in the first place for you guys to be Italian around. And I know the idea is like, well, Columbus is the American part, but again, not United States of America, a concept of America that they don't encompass at all in their self-concept as Italian Americans. It's an entirely different national identity from anything Columbus did. Yeah, and Garibaldi did he was in Argentina doing fucking revolutionary banditry and shit. Pimp. But I honestly don't know why the Italians need a guy. I mean, who else has a day? The Irish have a day. I guess it's whoever was in the big ethnic East Coast machines that like ran the Democratic Party for a while. That was their version of identity politics. That was the identity politics part of the material, the material and cultural case for the Democratic Party in the 20th century. Was, yeah, we'll give you patronage jobs in suburban houses with union benefits, and also we give you a day for your people. Like, I can just imagine FDR, like old patrician blue blood FDR going, yes, would you people like a day, perhaps? And they're going to be like, yeah, we're part of the team, we're part of the ruling class. And it's like, yeah, sure you are, buddy. Thus, perpetuating false consciousness. It's a devious game. But Germans don't have a day. I mean, Oktoberfest doesn't count. I'm sorry. And it's what? It's just because we fought a couple world wars against them? I'm sorry, but they make proportionally the largest percentage of, like, European extracted Americans. But no, the whole thing is... I don't care about it either way, really. It's just kind of a thing that... Well, it's one of those things I have a hard time getting myself in the mindset of. Yo, God, how about an English day where we just eat disgusting potted meats? How about that? 4th of July is the opposite of a British holiday. I guess technically because the people who did it were British citizens. Thoughts on the carbonari? I'll tell you right now, I could go for some chicken carbonari. It sounds delicious.